Hello, YouTube. Oh my god, it's been so long since I've said hello, YouTube. It has been a while. I'll talk about why in a moment. Welcome to a best of 5 cast between the red Terran player in the lower left-hand corner of Jagannatha as map number 1. HeroMarine, representing Mouse Sports, of course, also known as Big Gabe. And this is, in fact, from the Big Gabe Weekly, aka the ESL Open Cup. Number 51, this one was played on Thursday, the 7th of January, which just so happened to be my birthday. Which was, it was because it was postponed. We had some lobby issues that postponed a couple of these cups. They all sorted out and we're playing a bit of catch-up. So it was played on a bit of an off day. But no difference for HeroMarine making it to another finals of one of these events, as he takes on a player who doesn't always sign up to these events, but always does very well when he does sign up. Probably has the highest win percentage, I guess, of these cups when playing. It is Reynor from Clash in the upper right-hand side, playing out Blue Zerg. I know he took a few days off over the holidays to, well, just chill out and not to play Starcraft, which I think is actually a good thing because there's very little off-season right now. And he's just getting back into it, so maybe using this cup as a bit of a warm-up to get back into action and stuff as well. So this is obviously going to be a really awesome best of 5 series, and we'll dive into all sorts of chitter-chatter about this game in just a moment. I didn't cast this live because I was just shattered on my birthday. I had so much. We casted for like 8.5 hours. We got to like the semi-finals or so of this event, and I was just so tired. I just couldn't continue casting. So we gave it up. We grabbed the replays of the finals and decided, you know what? Why not do a YouTube cast? I've been so busy recently, guys. There's just been so many tournaments going on at kind of different times and stuff. I've not really had much of an opportunity to do just YouTube exclusive stuff. And we've just had so many great games on the stream, we haven't really had to do YouTube exclusive casting, because at the end of the day, if there's enough great games on the stream, why go cast extra stuff? Because then you're going to miss out on the great games anyway, right? So, sorry that it's been so long, and I hope you guys are all doing well. Thank you so much. I want to say just thank you for all the support we had throughout 2020, especially. We hit 22,000 new subscribers in 2020. The YouTube hype slowed down a lot toward the end of the year, and it's still a little bit slow now, and that's completely fine. It was going to slow down at some point. I just want to thank you all for still watching the videos and stuff. Of course, if you do like this, don't forget to hit the like button. You know it helps us. You know it pushes it to other people on the YouTube servers. And of course, if you really enjoy it, don't forget to subscribe as well if you're not already subscribed. And we can start pushing towards some 2021 goals. I don't want to go too in-depth anything. I just wanted to say a quick thank you just for continuing to watch the YouTube content, and hopefully we'll have some more YouTube-only stuff over the next week or so. DreamHack SC2 Masters Last Chance is coming up, which means that we are going to be doing a little bit less casting on stream, and hence maybe a chance to cast some stuff just for YouTube. So, with all of that said, I just wanted to say again, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for the support. Enjoy this series, and let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. As we kick off here with a few lings moving across the map. Not really much done there, as the Hellion is going to push the ling out down to the bottom right-hand side. So the Hellion's going to get a ling, and a few Marines going to come in for the Overlord on the upper side here as well. So just going to pick this off, and honestly nothing all too crazy for the moment. Obviously the Overlord should eventually go down. 2 more Marines popping. So what's interesting here is that the reactor is on the barracks, and so this opening in general just very kind of Marine heavy. Now I'm going to swap the barrack, actually just going to keep the barracks right there. I'm going to go into a pretty quick tech lab on the factory. When it comes to the map, Jagannatha is probably going to be Reynor's map pick here. It's interesting to me because it means that HeroMarine probably vetoed Lightshade instead of Jagannatha. Usually Jagannatha is the go-to veto for Terran players, but HeroMarine choosing to play this one and choosing to veto I assume veto Lightshade. I guess we'll see as the series goes on. Obviously, I wasn't there, so I don't actually have the list of maps. I'm just opening these replays from a folder labeled Game 1, Game 2, Game 3, Game 4, Game 5, one at a time, to make sure I don't spoil myself or anything for kind of how this series went. So we'll see, but providing the next map or the next couple maps aren't Lightshade, it probably was a Lightshade veto because nothing else really makes sense. And if you're not picking Lightshade as Reynor, then you're doing something wrong as well. So that's probably just the Zerg map pick here, and yeah, it means that HeroMarine, generally you want to do something to slow the Zerg down early, and he's already kind of doing it, right? He's killed a couple of Overlords now, and with this Marine drop opening, something just a bit different, a bit offbeat, and that's the kind of thing you oftentimes want/need, just to help you along in this kind of Jagannatha map that's so difficult to play in the later stage. But if you can get a bit of momentum early, you can actually do really well. So I like it, you know? It's a little bit different. Reynor's not able to play his usual defense because this isn't something he usually plays against. He's lost a lot of mining time there. And unfortunately for HeroMarine, he just had 4 Hellions straight up into this mineral line, but he lost 2 of them to Banelings. So the Banelings just went off. They shut down 2 of those Hellions. That's actually massive because if all 4 of those Hellions hit that mineral line, that probably is 8 to 10 drone kills, and that's a very good trade out as well, of course. So I'm not going to say a fortunate defense. The Banelings were positioned there for good reason, and they worked out perfectly. So just good defense, really, from Reynor. He kind of knew that that was going to be a threat, and he put something there to handle it, and it worked out perfectly. The moment you go down to 2 Hellions, the power just isn't there, right? It just doesn't... You don't one-shot drones anymore. It just isn't as good. The Raven on the follow-up to this as well. We've been seeing a lot of this when you don't go into as many Hellions and you go into, like, a bit of a Marine-heavy opening. You go into this Raven, and it provides a way for you to get rid of some creep spread. It's another way to harass as well. You put the Raven behind a mineral line. You put some auto turrets down in that mineral line time and time again. And you just slowly chip away at workers as the games go on by. As we'll see these few queens, they are just going to be putting down some extra creep spread. And we do have the Spire on the way in the back from Reynor. So Reynor actually kind of delayed on that Spire, I would say. You know, usually if you go for the lair first or the quick lair Spire before upgrades, it's faster than that. But because he's been under a bit of pressure, losing mining time, especially from this main base where 2 of his gases are, I think the Spire is a little bit delayed, and that means the Bane speed is also looking to be a bit delayed here. So maybe Reynor just a little bit off from where he wants to be in timings. In terms of his work account and everything else, I think he's actually kind of doing pretty well. But yes, obviously the successful harassment of HeroMarine has had some effect, and we'll see if he can take advantage of that as he starts to get a bio army up and running here. There is a couple Marines on the right side going down as the drop continues to try and find openings. Double Raven. Wow, I didn't actually realize there was 2 Ravens made. 2 Ravens made makes this very interesting as well. Again, more potential for aggression, more potential for some auto turret harass. We'll see exactly how he utilizes those. The problem is, as soon as the Mutalisks are on the map, these Ravens become much more difficult to keep alive, right? They're very easily targeted down by Mutas. They're going to be pretty much... You can't harass with them at that point. HeroMarine is going to scan ahead just to see what he's attacking into, if he wants to continue this attack or not. Just going to drop the auto turrets down and help to zone this area out while he goes in for the 4th base. He gets 9 drones. Lings are looking for reinforcements, but you know what? With this amount of auto turrets here, HeroMarine might just keep on fighting. If he'd been able to find maybe a couple more Baneling shot downs, he might have been able to continue that. I say shot downs, though, that's a word, but you know what I mean. If he targeted down a couple more Banes, he might have been able to stick around. He tries to go up into the main. He honestly did well enough anyway. 9 workers killed is fab. He doesn't really lose a lot in this process. A few Marines. The Ravens both still alive. Of course, you do have to be careful because very soon here, Mutalisks are joining the fray. And the moment that Mutalisks are joining this fight, that's when you can't just jump around in these medevacs any longer. But of course, he is sitting on a 1-1 upgrade lead. Huge counterattack, though, from Reynor. Something that we know Reynor is very good at. He gets straight in onto this base, and multiple SCVs are going down. And HeroMarine doesn't have a response to that as the Banelings crash through in the front door. The Ravens are putting down another auto turret trying to help this position. HeroMarine would love to get rid of this hatchery. The 4th base going down is a huge slowdown for the Zerg. Widowmine, good split away from Reynor. That's a really nice micro there to make sure the group of Banelings doesn't go down. Just one of them falls. As the Marines trade out well, target firing down Mutalisks. It's a lot of Mutas going down. This is a really good value trade. Even if HeroMarine loses these medevacs now, he's killed 5 Mutas. He should be able to keep at least a couple of them alive as they boost away toward reinforcements they are going to get here to turn this around and shut this down as well. Now you've Queens dropping too. HeroMarine is really controlling this game. He's missing his +2 armor upgrade, which is a little bit of a shame, but he has got +2 attack, which is typically the more important upgrade in TVZ. Oh no! Banelings just crashed in down over here for 19 SCVs. So Reynor with a good counterattack again. That base is just too open. HeroMarine is so focused on dealing damage and just pushing, he's really neglecting to defend his bases, and that's a massive mistake. And by the way, Infernal Pre-Igniter, is that intentional? He's building Widow Mines. I think that's meant to be Drilling Claws, and he's pressed the wrong button. It doesn't make sense to invest in a Blue Flame when you're building Widow Mines, and now HeroMarine is eating some Baneling connections. I gotta say, he's still cleaning up pretty well. There's a very low Muta count compared to what would have been wanted to be on the map, but some mistakes from HeroMarine. It's a sloppy series if he's building up a Hellion upgrade instead of a Widow Mine upgrade. He's letting some of his army get eaten up by Banelings now. It feels like HeroMarine should have this game under control, And I feel like he has, but maybe what's happening back at home is slipping up for him, and maybe bringing Reynor back in this game. Again, just this baneling connection and this base just being so open is a huge problem. And again, HeroMarine maybe just committing too much across the map and just being too hopeful at ending the game right now, rather than looking back home and thinking, right, I need to keep these units or workers alive, else I'm gonna be in trouble. Just fly in, and SCV will get picked off. Marines are going to fly on run on forward as well. +2 Carapace coming in on the Evolution Chamber, and just going to be seeing the Drilling Claws on the way on the factory as well. A couple more Widow Mines coming through. The Thor on the way out. The extra Marines and Medevacs coming in. And we do have HeroMarine going to make a bit of a push up the right side with Marine Medevac. He's going to look to cancel this base again. You know, we're getting to the point where obviously HeroMarine's on 4 bases too. And with HeroMarine on 4 bases, if he keeps this as a 4 base versus 4 base game, that's typically going to be good for him. You look at the resources lost, you can see the advantage there from HeroMarine. So he's doing the right things there. He's now on his way to Drilling Claws. He's definitely realized that mistake. And 3-2 upgrade start as well, so he'll start to fix some of the problems that he had in this game that maybe takes away some of the advantages he should have had. By the way, I never realized, but he actually killed the Evo Chamber with +1 melee on it. I assumed the upgrade had finished when he killed the Evo Chamber, but I was wrong. That upgrade was actually cancelled, so deny +1 melee. Kind of the same as +1 armor miss or +2 armor miss from HeroMarine. Carapace is the more important upgrade for Ling Bane, because generally you're taking more shots than you're dealing, but missing a melee upgrade is still missing a melee upgrade. Lings are not going to be as effective as they're meant to be. As HeroMarine's going to use this position he's carved into, right? He's cut the creep out of this direction. He's going to use this as a way to push forward into a dangerous position and push Reynor into fights that he maybe doesn't want to take. Reynor's now going to bring the mutas across the map, though, and finally he's up to kind of a decent muta count. He's not had this all game long because he was trading badly with the mutalisks. I mean, how many mutas did he lose until now? 11? And it's been a game where he's been under a lot of pressure, had to morph in a lot of banes. There's not been a big chance to really get to a massive muta count. And now that he's got there, he uses the mutas instantly to start shutting down some economy, slowing the game down for HeroMarine, and just maybe hindering some reinforcements once more with this muta threat. Because obviously now you've got to put units back in the main base to deal with that. And all of these Marines are sat at home defensively, rather than reinforcing over on this side to try and really power through into the natural expansion and to kind of take Reynor down. 110 to 90 army supply, so that's an advantage from HeroMarine. But again, that doesn't matter if you're going to take bad fights because you're split up badly. And right now, I would say he is split up badly because there's just not really anything over here. Definitely has a bit too much at home, has taken a long time to reinforce with anything. I mean, finally some units are going to continue across the map now. As I don't disagree, you want some stuff at home. You need to respect these mutalisks, but boy, he's not just respecting the mutalisks. He's treating the mutalisks as like the entire army. I get it, mutas are scary, and mutas are very frustrating to play against, but if you don't reinforce these positions, they're not going to go well for you. Then you're just wasting units, and then you may as well try and back away and retreat instead of trying to hold the position. So it's a kind of a fine line that you need to balance on. Otherwise, you kind of do just kind of give up units for no real reason. As a 30 army supply need now. More importantly, it's going to be 3-2 against 2-1 upgrades. The upgrade lead is there for HeroMarine. And let's see if that can transition into a few extra fights that will go his way. We've seen Reynor lose a few more mutas in the game, not really rebuilding too many of them. There's a few over here, I guess. One of the big things for HeroMarine has been retention on these medevacs. They are still alive, and he's kept them alive pretty much this entire time as Marauders dealing with some of this bane lanes on the low ground. We're going to be seeing the mutas continue to move on through. Extra bane showing up. They're going to keep on rolling forward here. Marauders going to clean out some extra banes as well. And we are going to be seeing another Widow Mine shot going off on a group of mutalisks. So Widow Mine after Widow Mine. Mutas are just taking hit after hit at the moment. They are not having a good time at all. As now the bio pulls out over the left-hand side here. Creep tumors are going to be cleaned out. I'm just going to push into the far left base as we're going to be seeing the extra, well, this hatchery just in general in trouble. This is big. I mean, this was the 5th base Reynor's been mining from all this time. He's losing drones on the base as well. Just counter-attacking with Lings into, I mean, upgraded advantage Marines. These Lings are never going to do much. Now we see the mutas making a play. Reynor going to try and clean this up. He is going to force them into the medevacs, but the reinforcements are here. And so how much can Reynor really do? Well, not a lot. His supply continues to slip away. And HeroMarine looks really good for this game number 1. He does have a few Lings in this natural to deal with, but again, a low amount of Marines will do very well just because of the upgrades. And obviously, a few SCVs like that lost doesn't quite make up for the base. and the drones that Reynor lost just a few moments ago. HeroMarine pushing on up, scanning ahead, seeing what he's attacking into, cleaning out creep, cleaning out queens. So that means replacing this creep is going to be more difficult than it wants to be. And there's just not really any banelings left here. 4 or 5 rolling into the army. Now about another 7 or 8 finishing up in production. It's just not enough to clean this Bioforce out. And if you're not going to clean out this Bioforce, you're going to lose this base again. And we kind of know where the game goes from there on out. The Marines need to split back, let the Marauders do the tanking. And then you can bring the Marines in to fight the Mutas. And I think Reynor's losing too much at this point. This might just be GG. If you can't clean up this army, you're going to keep on losing bases. You're going to get your reinforcements stuck with these units. And then there's not really anything else you can do. Here, Marines reinforcement, there's so many medevacs. The healing is just insane. The Mutas can't even break through the Marines, even though there's so few of them, because there's just so much healing going on. Too many upgrades. Here, Marine is going to win game number 1 on Jagannatha. And I gotta say, it really comes down to, I think, him really controlling the game early. And he really played a very good positional and, directional game in the sense of he always fought around here. Because he won this position early in the game, he had good control of it, and he used the Ravens to make sure he would clean up the creep here as well, and that gave him this position later in the game too. And while Reynor did a great job of counterattacking and all the rest, I just really like what HeroMarine did on this position on the map. Really felt like that was very successful for him. I felt like that was very cool. GG's, I think very, very well played by HeroMarine. I'm going to say it one more time. Impressed with how he opened here. A bit different. And made it work out. So HeroMarine takes the 1-0 lead against Reynor in what is, again, a best-of-5 finals of the game number 2. And we actually start on the top right-hand side with the Terran player who obviously took that first game. It is HeroMarine taking on the blue Zerg in the bottom left-hand side. It's Reynor now having to play on the Terran map pick. Oxide is the go-to map pick for Terran players because the go-to veto from a Zerg is Submarine. Oxide Terran players love it. There's a lot of ledges, there's lots of rocks. There's just good positions to push in. It's difficult for the Zerg to open up the map. The map's just very choky naturally. And so the Terrans can do very well with their rally pushes, their parade pushes, and just early game aggression and stuff in general. So this is why it's a go-to for the Terran players. And we'll see if Reynor can fight back because HeroMarine's won on Reynor's map pick. Now it's time for Reynor to win on HeroMarine's map pick. Otherwise, Reynor's essentially at a disadvantage in the series. Obviously, that's obvious because he's down a game. But it's a disadvantage that's really... if you're down a game, but you played on your opponent's map pick, it's like, okay, well, he was kind of meant to win that one. Being down a game after your map pick, and your first map pick at that, is like, ooh, yikes. I've got some work to do here to bring this back. Now, as the game just sets up and nothing too out of the ordinary happens, guys... I just want to give a little bit of a heads up as well. I know I've not given a lot of updates to YouTube and stuff in general lately, but we have got a big WardiTV event this month, so just a little bit of a heads up in case you want to catch some of it. Obviously, the best games will, as always, go on YouTube, but from the 19th of January until January 31st, we have the $9,000 WardiTV 2021. Just a heads up to keep your eyes open, and maybe you can catch the live stream to catch all the games, or like I say, the best will, of course, come here on YouTube. I just want to get a little bit of hype for you guys and just build up a bit. Obviously, it's going to be really epic. $9,000 is a good prize pool. We're going to get some great players involved, I'm sure. Really looking forward to it and just wanted to give you guys the little heads up. And, of course, if you enjoy the WardiTV events when we put videos up from them, the perfect way to support them is the Patreon page, patreon.com/WardiTV, or the link is in the description below. Just the Patreon page is 100% of what you pledge on Patreon goes to WardiTV tournament prize pools. So... it helps me because I get to cast more Starcraft, and it helps the Starcraft players because they get more money because you're basically funding their prize pools. So check that out. I just want to make a little shout out there and get hyped for the big WardiTV event, the first of the year. I'm very excited for it. It's going to be awesome. But let's talk about the game, as we do have a No Reaper opening. So Lings will get to come across the map here once again. Very similar to the last game, right? In fact, pretty much the exact same as the last game. So we didn't look at it too in depth, but it's one Marine into Reactor. Then the Marine, so the rack stays on the Reactor while a Hellion builds. And he actually goes into 2 Hellions, no Reactor, with 5 or so Marines. And that's when he was thinking about swapping over last time, but he actually stuck to the kind of barracks on the Reactor setup. So we'll see here very soon. The one Hellion will actually chase these Lings away, and they obviously try to make it home. 2 of them go down. And HeroMarine is just going to double check and sees that there is indeed a third hatchery here as well. That's why the Hellion pulled to the side just slightly just before. So yes, that third hatchery is indeed on the way down and in position. A tac lab on the way down from the factory here from HeroMarine. And just going to be seeing the medevac continuing up. That'll be finishing in a few moments' time as well. So again, there's medevac completed. And Marines just rallying out to the corner of this base. And the Hellion still from HeroMarine coming out through the top. So bringing this back home. And yeah, we'll see what Reynor brings to the table right now for game number 2. I mean, obviously, typically the Terran player kind of dictates what happens in TVZ. Initially, at least. Do you go 3cc, or do you go, how many Hellions do you build? What sort of attack do you go for, and how does the Zerg respond to that? But I feel like it might not be a bad time for Reynor to try, and especially as he goes in and he gets a full scout on what's happening, it might not be a bad time for Reynor to just sort of say, right, you know what? This is what I'm going to do this game. And, typically the Zerg decision is, do you see a faster lair and Aspire, or do you see double Evo chambers? So we'll see what his choice is. Again, last time it was a faster lair and Aspire. This time, maybe he switches that up. He sees that it's a starport. Initially, this was Cloak and Banshee. HeroMarine actually just cancels it. So he's actually just going to go into the Raven. And the thing is, this Overlord was overhead long enough to see that Cloak didn't start. So I think it's a pretty safe assumption for Reynor to say this is probably not going to be a Banshee here. He is going to go double Evolution Chamber. So he's going to open with double upgrades. That's interesting. I'm excited to see what you do with the double upgrades then. Let's see where this goes. 7 drones on the way out. The Spore Crawler is about halfway done. Raven halfway along. The few Hellions and the Raven coming through, and the Queens gonna be over here to help push the Hellions back. As Marines unload over on this left-hand side, they're gonna pick away at this hatchery. Lings are gonna show up and jump in on top of these Marines, which are just going to load up and unload once again. The Lings now showing up, and the Hellions are there to pick away at the Lings. He's actually going to get a cancel in his 4th base, isn't he? I feel like Reynor's kind of struggling against this opening. He's like, he just doesn't quite find the way to get the units that he needs up against this amount of Marine Hellion at this time. So yeah, Reynor a bit, it's probably something to do with the fact he's on 64 drones. 64 drones, when the 3rd CC, it's not like the fastest 3rd CC in the world, right? So maybe the drone kind of hurt, but at the same time, if you get 64 drones, maybe it's just not the end of the world. You have so much economy. Okay, yes, my 4th base is denied, but I have 3 full bases mining effectively. Maybe you can allow the 4th base to be denied and not be too unhappy about it, right? Now you actually push back this medevac. Now the units at the front get pushed back as well. The one thing I will say is just retention of units from HeroMarine is great. The more that you keep these units alive, the more you can use them later on in the game, and that generally is a big strength of a Terran player, right? If you can keep units alive like this as a Terran, you get more use out of them, you're generally going to have a very good time, because value is everything on Terran units, and it's one of the big things we always see. If you have, incredible at micro and you can control your units really well and just make the most of them, typically that's what wins Terran players games. That's the strength of the Terran army, the ability to win fights where they're just able to kind of, I guess, overwhelm in a way. Do you see our Marine Hellion joining up in the center, and just going to be seeing the Queens of Reynor coming around to the upper left-hand side. A few extra racks just continuing to build. So it's going to be 7 racks, or 8 racks, sorry, in total. So yes, just going to 8 racks this one. I actually kind of like it when you've denied the 4th base to go 8 racks, because 8 racks on 3cc is very much so, it's obviously a very aggressive build order. It really ramps up the pressure a lot. He is actually going to go 2nd factory too. Okay, what I wonder is, I actually saw this +1 attack, and I thought that was maybe somewhat intentional, but there is double engineering bay down. So maybe that's not intentional. He may just missed the +1 armor upgrade. Marines in the wall. Well, Widowmine has had plenty of time to burrow here to create some... Hello, HeroMarine? He's paying attention over here. Auto turret's going down, but these Widowmines should have held this wall, quite frankly. Yeah, HeroMarine just kind of making a mistake there and letting Lings into the natural. If the Widowmines burrow up, it forces a response from Reynor, and then maybe you distract Reynor by what you're doing back at home. In the end, these Lings will go down, and only a few SCVs will be lost, but it's the lost mining time, of course. That adds up. That becomes a little bit more of a problem as the auto turrets go down behind this mineral line. Now Ling's shown up on this right-hand side as well. Banes are going to get Bane speed in a moment. And remember, no armor upgrade for the Terran player. Maybe that can create some better fights here for the Zerg than usual. Maybe they can do something with it as Reynor comes in from the right-hand side, flanks in, so he's going to surround this army, and HeroMarine caught a little bit off guard. Bane's going to keep on rolling through, and HeroMarine's going to start to lose SCVs on the third base. In fact, he's going to lose pretty much everything on the third base. Just lose this game. 13 SCVs down. Bane's still rolling forward. Reynor has got a lot of money in the bank, by the way. Like, he's got so much money in the bank as the third CC is going to re-land. Drops an auditor to try and help push this away, which he will just about be able to do. Reynor pulls back. Okay, HeroMarine actually types out GG. You might... okay, I'm going to just say this. So, people love to say, oh my god, early GG. Because he's up in army supply, which is not wrong. But look at everything that's going wrong for HeroMarine. And why he might be typing GG. He didn't start 2-2 upgrades. So in his mind, he's already down an armor upgrade. In his mind, he's also going to be down basically 1-0 to 2-2. And that's actually true. He will be down massively in upgrades. That upgrade difference probably makes up for the army supply difference. An army supply difference which you can't really use because his unit count is already kind of shattered. It's not really... what's he got left? Like 6 medevacs, 20 marines? It doesn't really line up. Like, these are like 3-4 medevacs that aren't that useful, and 2 ravens don't do much. Now, you can argue, of course, that there's not much on the map right now from Reynor, but HeroMarine also doesn't realize that Reynor's floating so much money, so there's also maybe, like, a little bit too much respect for Reynor here, where HeroMarine's like, huh, you probably have a ton of stuff back at home right now, right? So I'm just gonna tap out. This game just fell apart very quickly. I'm a bit frustrated. Get out of here, get into the next game. Yes, it might be a bit of an early GG in the sense that he maybe could have stuck around and given it a go. But I do see his idea of where he is behind and why he's behind, and I don't really disagree with it. I think Reynor probably does just play this out to a victory anyway. And sometimes for HeroMarine, if he can identify that, it's not a bad thing to just say, Rel, you know what? Get out of here, because I'm a bit annoyed that I threw it away because I had such a good opening. Get out of here, reset my mind, don't dwell on it, and don't get tilted. Just get into the next game and kind of go from there. So how about we do the same and hop into game 3, tied up 1. So we tie up 1-1. We go into game number 3 here. And in the top right-hand side, our red Terran player is HeroMarine. And in the bottom left-hand side, our blue Zerg player is Reynor from Clash, of course. So a third map of this best of 5. Pillars of Gold. So this will come back to kind of Reynor's map pick. So he chooses Pillars of Gold over... again, I'm guessing what the videos are. I'm guessing Submarine and Light Shows. So you choose Pillars over Death Aura, I suppose, and Romanticide. Romanticide is becoming more of a Terran map pick. Death Aura is one that you would probably see. Typically, Pillars comes 5th. But Pillars is an interesting one because different players have different opinions on Pillars. Some really like it. Some kind of just say, yeah, it's okay for me, it's okay for them. That's why it sometimes ends up as map 5. But sometimes, you know, Zerg says, you know what, I kind of like this map a little bit more. Sometimes the Terran says the exact same thing. It's a real 50-50 kind of map. There's nobody who is really... kind of advantaged here on Pillars of Gold, more so than the other sides. You know, for example, the base over here is very open, so that's good for the Zerg to attack into. It's bad for the Terran to attack into. But this base is a little bit more closed off, so it's good for the Terran to defend. And the Zerg also has a rotation of bases. You can go down here, you can go up there. You can swap bases based on where the pushes are coming from. So there's also counterattack pathways left, right, center. So in general, I actually think Pillars of Gold plays pretty well on both sides. Like I say, it's kind of a 50-50 map. When it comes to, does anybody have like an advantage here? Does anybody have a little bit of a lead or something they can do? Ovi is making its way across to the upper sides. Not much else to say then. The build order again from HeroMarine. No Reaper once more. HeroMarine is kind of one of these players, right, that gets sort of set on an idea. And once HeroMarine is kind of set on the idea of something, he is very good at kind of just, oh, I like this build. It's working really well for me. Let's keep doing it. And I don't disagree. 2 games in a row now, the build order gave HeroMarine a good advantage. And it absolutely has not been anything to do with the it's definitely not been anything to do with the build that's caused HeroMarine to lose game number 2. In fact, the build, I think, put him into a fantastic position once again, and it really was just a few mistakes in a row that all of a sudden HeroMarine fell apart to. It's very easy for that to happen when you're playing someone as good as Reynor, so yeah, we go into game number 3, and I don't mind him doing the same build. The only thing I don't like about it is that Reynor is really good at adapting, right? Reynor is one of the best players out there at sort of showing up and being like, right, he's doing this. This didn't work. I tried this different style. You know, he generally hits about this sort of time, so if I edit my build in this way, maybe I can do this, right? So in that regard, it's kind of a... I don't like it because I feel like Reynor can adapt very well to dealing with this sort of like same build again and again and minimizing the effects, but it's not the same build again and again. This time, he makes it look like it is because he sends just one Hellion across. And that's the smart part of this, because we go into reacted Hellions now, and we're going to go into an armory, so we're going to Hellbat attack. I kind of love it, actually. So switching it up, it's that mind game of, hey, it looks really similar, but actually, it's not. So yeah, let's see how this plays out as the armory comes through. I just wanted to mention, one of the reasons HeroMarine might do similar things again and again against Reynor here is because they're also going to be in the same group in the DreamHack SC2 Masters Last Chance event that happens starting on January. I want to say the January the 12th is the first day of that. These two are in the same group. They don't play in the first matchup, but it's possible that they end up meeting, right? And so if that happens, I think HeroMarine and HeroMarine and Reynor both in some ways want to somewhat kind of keep their builds themselves, because or test the waters here a little bit, because it's one of those things you don't know how exactly it affects the players, but it's definitely something they'll have in their minds, that they might be giving up information or giving their opponents a chance to prepare against them already. So something to keep in mind there, as we do see the Queenling army going to jump in on this. Hellbats are going to jump into a medevac, drop back down. The medevac taking good damage. It's going to fall in a few moments' time, and Reynor's doing a great job of keeping Queens alive as long as possible. In fact, Reynor's doing a really good job of engaging this. Couple Lings at a time moving in means that only 1 or 2 Lings are soaking up shots. He loses 1 Queen at the end here that maybe could have gotten away. Reynor really defended well against this Hellbat attack. He saw it coming, and so he just got the Ling Queen out that he needed to put a defense on the table. And defense on the table is exactly what we have. Evo Chamber's coming down, so Reynor will opt for an evolution upgrade kind of focused game. And on the other side, HeroMarine's going into Cloak Banshee, so he's looking for further aggression, further harassment at least, while building up into bio behind all of this. So yeah, I mean, if you look at what was lost here, I mean, 2 Queens, 23 Lings, the resources lost is favoring the Terran. I think that's fine. You've got 3 bases up. You were kind of a little bit greedy initially, right? You were mining more here as Reynor for the majority of this game, apart from 1 minor drone pull. So I think Reynor looks at this and says, yeah, this is fine. You know, I'm in an advantage here to begin with. This is completely fine for me. As these few Hellions moving around the right-hand side, heading down the bottom. Bit of creep spread from Reynor heading out through the center, so a bit of creep up through the middle of the map. Hellions on the bottom side, they're going to move down, and, well, Queen going to take a little bit of damage there initially. And 2 Banshees of HeroMarine going to make their way to the left. Creep team is shot down. Hellions coming forward once again to push that around. 1-1 upgrades, the stim pack coming through. And again, the creep spread just continuing to push on forward. A bit more creep of Reynor will go out to the top side, and this is going to be a scan. Good scan, actually denies the active creep teams that are spreading. It actually gets rid of a lot of the creep in the middle of the map. I mean, that's the sort of creep denial that goes a long way. Lings don't want to chase too far, as the 2 Banshees make their way in the back, but good map awareness. So this wasn't a shot that alerted Reynor of what's going on. This was him just realizing, seeing it on the minimap, these Banshees flying through. So good awareness there. He is still going to lose some drones as they've come back down to the bottom side, or the bottom half of this these mineral patches. So that's a little bit scary, of course. As now this Queen going to be, well, trying to be used to kind of push the couple of Banshees away. So trying to keep the Banshees back here. A couple more drones still dropping down dead. And the Banshees are going to go back into or through the main base. Going to get another drone. And then over into the natural expansion, another one. So the drones keep on dropping. 8 workers killed. We do just have our queens. Gonna turn around again. That's gonna be one Banshee shot down, another Banshee. Doesn't quite die. HeroMarine's pushing at the same time. We've seen Reynor struggle to keep a fourth base alive today, and right now he has no idea this army is here. He has 0 Banelings out, 0 Banelings morphing. That's the big deal. The fact there's no Banelings on the way already. You know, if this Bane's already morphing, it's like, okay, well, you're getting them ready to go. They just start morphing now. Big part of this is that HeroMarine sees it, so he knows how long he's got until these Banes are done. He's just gonna sit back. There's no reason to attack too far in. He's just gonna get rid of this hatchery, man. Like, he's gonna clean up the fourth base. And obviously cleaning up the fourth base like this is a huge cleanup. So that's massive for HeroMarine. Is going to see the Ling Bane continuing through, connecting in on a few of these Hellbats. Marines are going to be here lifting up. I mean, fourth base killed. What's funny is there's a fifth hatch building right next to him to the left-hand side. He didn't cancel initially. And maybe HeroMarine can come across and continue this push. He goes straight into 2-2 upgrades this time. Reynor's actually missing his +2 melee. Prioritizing the Carapace at least, as we'll see in the center. A few more creep tumors being picked away at. Again, being really good at denying the creep in the middle of the map, which is only going to give HeroMarine some good options. The third base really wide open for attack again, though, as he goes into 8 racks, and that's a scout from Reynor too, seeing these 3 extra racks over here. So immediately Reynor kind of sees what's up. He's going to realize this is heavy pressure from HeroMarine still. And so HeroMarine knows what he wants. Reynor knows what he'll want to do to play against this. He's not playing any lair tech. He's playing pure Ling Bane. Pure Ling Bane actually is a pretty good way to deal with the 8 racks because you just have so many units coming out. Because it's just sheer volume of Ling Bane versus not having, something like mutas don't actually help too much against 8 racks, in terms of straight up fighting. So pure Ling Bane is like giving you the most, I can just run into this and sort of trade setup possible. The only problem with it is just pure Ling Bane, so it's not maybe the most efficient way of fighting. So you need to make sure you keep a strong economy. Run-bys like this do that for you. 19 SCVs already killed. Obviously puts you into a huge worker advantage, and hence a huge little bit of mining advantage here. Bane's chasing forward again, and the Marines pull back. There's now a few Lings pull around the right-hand side themselves. Bane's going to try and roll forward. The Marines are there, picking off a few of them. The Queens get pushed away. We're not going to be seeing 2 upgrades coming up to completion fairly soon. 11 Marines in production at once. Reynor's setting up the surround, looking to flank around on this. The big part of this is obviously you know that your opponent's not really reinforcing at the same time, so you can either flank in, or shut down reinforcements, or use this army as a counterattack. The options really are wide open to you as to what you'd like to do. This is cute, just getting behind a mineral line, lifting up, going potentially into the main, but also option just to escape away, which is what he does. So using the options well. Reynor going to counterattack in, though. Bane's going to get straight through on top of some of these SCVs. Cleaning up some of the Marines on the counter, on the reinforcements as well. Man, I'm kind of surprised Reynor hasn't just leapt on this army yet. I know there's a couple of tanks, but boy, he's not reinforced this in forever. And so there's just not that much over here. Things are going to run through the center, but there's so many reinforcements. I think the fight to take is this one. Marines are low HP, Medivacs are out of energy. There's only 2 tanks, and again, there's just not that much of any of it. He's instead going to go counterattack. He kills off one of the 8 racks. I'm not sure how much that really matters. It's not got an add-on attached to it or anything. Your SCVs go down, but at the cost of all of your, counterattacking Zerglings. The Armory supply is rising up. About 50 army supply in the lead at the moment. Tank shot is good onto the Queens. Going to see a few more Marines on the left-hand side. They are going to come through, looking to pick off this hatchery. It's going to be seen again. 14 more Lings, the Queen. All of this continuing through then as the Marines looking to fight a little bit here on the top side. The Lings run through. There's a siege tank that gets picked off already. HeroMarine coming in with an extra group of Marines as well. Going to have a little bit more pushing down the left side. Queen's in some trouble. Tanks are going to press forward here as well. And Overlord goes down. A couple Banes connect in for some Marines. On the top side, more of these Lings being cleaned out. Marines come up there to clean that out. And we do see the Lings of Reynor from the right side with the Banes supporting Castia to run through and to go in for this. I mean, Bane's continuing to drop down dead. HeroMarine is just trading kind of well all over the place. It feels like none of these counterattacks of Reynor are doing anything. And HeroMarine is just making better and better progress on this side of the map. I feel like Reynor's missed his opportunities to get good attacks done. And now HeroMarine just has too much of everything everywhere. Right? Like, it feels as though there was a point for Reynor to maybe get something done, but he made the wrong choices. He chose the wrong places to fight in. And that means he trades badly enough that now HeroMarine just has so much more. The inefficiency is killing him. Oh my goodness. It's an 8,000 resources lost difference. Telling you the tale of this game so far. Yeah, I mean, absolutely just too much lost across the board. As Marines keep pushing through, these Queens are in trouble. A Baneling coming through, connecting in. Marines are still dropping down dead, but not enough of them as the Banelings are desperately trying to morph in to keep on pushing through on this, and they get some pretty good connections. But this is still a 40 army supply lead. Reinforcements stim in from the top. Banelings will not even reach those Marines. The Queens are going to die, and Reynol's going to type out a GG to give HeroMarine a game 3 of the series. Reynor goes up 2-1, and Reynor is on match point here in this finals, looking to steal away a Big Gabe weekly victory away from Big Gabe and into his own pockets. Well, HeroMarine's been playing a fantastic series so far. Now, Red Terran top left-hand side of Romantis side. We'll see if he can finish it off right here in this 4th game. As he takes on the blue Zerg in the bottom right-hand corner from Clash. It is Reynor. Here in the ESL Open Cup number 51 finals cast just for you guys on YouTube. It's nice, isn't it? Just, it really has just been a while since I did a YouTube cast. It's nice just being able to fully focus on the game. Not have to worry about silly Twitch chat chattering at me and complaining in real time. I can just, you know, now at least when you guys complain in the comments, I can just not be distracted while casting the game while reading them. You know, that's a bonus. Appreciate you guys watching. Like I say, it's been awesome to have the YouTube do so well last year, and excited to try and see what we can do with the YouTube channel this year as well. HeroMarine already building this barracks in a position to put down a reactor. That's not really weird. Personally, I do this every single game I play in TVZ, whether I'm going to go Reaper expand or whatever. Very rarely does it backfire against you, and typically you're always going to have to build a reactor here anyway. Very little things show up in time to punish you for having the barracks built where the reactor's going to basically end up anyway. So what I'm trying to say is that doesn't really indicate anything. Long way of saying that basically doesn't say that he's going to go for that Marine into reactor build or anything like that. This can be anything. It can be Marine into reactor. It could be, as we are seeing right now, the Reaper. It really does just leave all of the choices open, and any real set of possibilities are available. Let's see if you have HeroMarine around the right-hand side. A couple of Queens on the way up. Extra few Lings coming through. Command Center on their natural expansion. There's again just a hatchery first from Reynor. Reynor's gone through stages of playing pool first a lot when he's afraid of proxy racks and stuff. HeroMarine isn't much of a proxy racks player though. It's maybe, I feel like, one of the weaknesses of HeroMarine. He'll proxy racks Reaper in like TVT or so. Proxy racks in TVZ, it's not really his thing. I actually feel like it's a bit of a weakness because I feel like against Clem, Reynor will sometimes just open pool first because of the fear of the proxy racks Marine, right? But against HeroMarine, I don't think he ever really would open pool first because why? HeroMarine never opens proxy racks like that, so why do something like that when it's just 9 times out of 10 or more just gonna go up against, you know, a build where you're just gonna get punished for going pool first. You're just gonna fall behind. So yeah, it's one of the things I'd love to see HeroMarine mix in a little bit more. You know, some players are just so typically macro only that it hurts them, and HeroMarine is kind of that guy. Like, he's not afraid to do all-ins, I don't think, but in TVZ he will just not proxy racks. And again, like, it's just such a useful build to have in your repertoire. There's a reason pretty much any Terran player does it, and like I say, it's just one of the things that Clem does still quite a lot in TVZ. Not every game, but he will. Every now and again, he puts it in there. And it's just that little bit of something you have to respect a little bit more as Reynor. I mean, he didn't even scout for the proxy racks in this game. Like, these overlords came out here, but mostly to kind of watch for where the Hellions are. Like, the first overlord just went straight from the main base, straight across the map. No scouting for the proxy racks at all. The only scouting he does is this position where you can build the proxy racks here, lift them over to the other side of these minerals. He doesn't scout up here or anything like that. You know, proxy racks like here or so is pretty popular, that sort of location. So he doesn't really scout there right away. Maybe the second overlord, but that's a pretty late scout. He didn't drone scout at all. Anyways, I feel like I'm getting hung up on this idea of proxy racks and all the rest of it. Just like, you know, it's just one of those things that maybe Reynor doesn't respect as much against HeroMarine as he does against other players. With that said, we've got a bunch of Hellions coming out. The Raven about to be popping, and this time we are once again going to be seeing the double evolution chamber as the choice from Reynor. So we know exactly where he wants to take this game already. Double Evo chamber on the way out. Stimpack is on the way through. So yeah, Hellion Raven into the Bio Army yet again from HeroMarine. We've seen this a couple of times now. We definitely see the direction he's starting to take this in. Hellions are there to pick off the Zergling, so Ling will go down. And the other Hellions and the Raven out over here, going to put a few shots out. The Queen going to take some damage. Hatchery goes down onto the the fourth base location. Obviously, Romanticide, a nice large map, could lead us into one of those nice strong macro games. Now, HeroMarine's got his third CC early, so that's already moving into position as well. So yeah, we're kind of really set to just go kind of, not going to say long, but, you know, upgrades on either side. Neither player really looking to attack into the other, you know, in a big way just yet. Just some Hellion harass, just the Raven to accompany it. Just the kind of usual standard things that we're very used to seeing happen in the early game of TVZ. I think that's about halfway done. We do have Hellions, so I'm just going to come over here, but the Queens get there to push the Hellions back. Getting melee upgrades coming through. He actually drops an auto turret on an Overlord. Auto turret does kill an Overlord if it doesn't get too far away, which it doesn't, so actually not a bad kill. Now auto turret in to help chase the Queens down. He is going to get one Queen initially. Good fight so far. Hellions finding some good value. The Raven finding some good value. Ling's going to counterattack though. There's a big problem because the Hellions aren't at home. So the Lings are going to get straight in. They're going to start killing SCVs. They get 5. Okay, that's not too bad. If the upgrades were done, it might have been worse. But the Marines got behind the SCVs very quickly, minimizing the damage being taken there. As Reynor, Overlord speed going to be done from him too, so you'll have that to help him out. He's once again just playing pure Ling Bane for the moment. Bane speed just starting, no sign of any other tech just yet. He'll go straight to 2-2 upgrades. As HeroMarine brings Marines down the bottom side, Lings are going to run into the third base. There's no units over here. This time there's a wall off at the front, but the Lings went around the right. I feel like HeroMarine's kind of disregarding the potential of these counterattacks. This time there is 1-1 against 0-0, so it's kind of the situation I just said wasn't the case before. Now it is the case. Everything going down here from HeroMarine. Well, now he needs to get some serious damage on this side. With 24 SCVs lost, he needs to go, but he isn't finding anything. 30 SCVs down. Lings are still causing chaos over in the main base. It's just going to be GG. There was a wraparound happening over here at the same time, but I think HeroMarine had already kind of given up on the fight because he was just losing so much back at home. Reynor just had a defense set up. He had units across the map dealing so much damage. HeroMarine just couldn't get enough out of it, and he knew it, so he gives it up, and Reynor will tie us up 2-2. Oh, and we get to go to a game 5. Fifth map comes down to this, of course, ESL Open Cup, in case you're not aware. $200 on the line for first, $100 for second, $50 for third and fourth place. Guaranteed to happen all the way throughout 2021 as well. The first, I believe actually these ones will not reward ESL points anymore, though. I believe this one doesn't reward ESL points because the ESL point cutoff is already reached. So I believe maybe... Okay, maybe there is still... Maybe this one is still going to give points because it's before the last chance event. So maybe the next couple still do. If that's the case, it is 10 points for first and 5 points for second place when it comes to ESL points. So a few points that may just change the seeding of the Katowice event, which we're still waiting to hear more about, by the way, guys. I guess obviously they said they wanted to try and make Katowice an offline event, but COVID kind of took a turn for the worse since then, so we are kind of sat in waiting to hear about what the outcome is going to be there. But yeah, just obviously just a few points on the line, but I mean mostly points, but also prize money. It's a good prize money, right? $400 for a weekly event. And of course, it happens in 3 different regions every week, so it's $1,200 every Monday up for grabs in ESL Open Cups, split between the Asian server, European server, and of course the American server as well. This is actually a very interesting cup. So I did cast some of this live, not the finals, but I was casting the earlier rounds. And one of the reasons I actually just tapped out is because the semifinals was actually got to the point where HeroMarine was about to play against a player called Young Yakov, because the certain section of the bracket there was just so many upsets. I think Showtime dropped to a Russian Terran player that he was just 0-2, no idea what happened, and some other big player dropped on that side of the bracket. So it was just this battle of like young kind of players, kind of for the to get through to the semis, and I was just like, man, the moment HeroMarine gets into the semifinals with these guys, it's just going to be a stomp. So I kind of just, that's when I was, talking about earlier, I was a bit tired, so I actually just tapped out early, and yeah, obviously I missed a hell of a finals based on what's happened here so far, but yeah, it was kind of just funny to see that HeroMarine, it happens so often that HeroMarine just has these really sick runs in the ESL Open Cups. Like, it's almost unfair, because it feels as though every single week he gets through to the semis really easily. And you might just say, well, HeroMarine is just really good, right? But like, yeah, HeroMarine is really good, but he still just seems to get there way more easily than anyone else. There's other really good players out there, And I used to think it's like, oh, he has the first seed, so he just gets the easier side of the bracket, and it just means his round of 16 is easy. His round of 8 is going to be the easier round of 8. And obviously the semis are always going to be difficult, but there's a good chance because his side of the bracket is just moving faster. He just gets that done, has a bit of rest before he goes. Or just he's in better shape for the semis. But like, he gets like seed 4 or so right now just because of ESL points. And he still just makes his way through these brackets so easily. Honestly, it really stuns me. It really does stun me how easily he goes through these cups. Like, it's impressive how well he plays in these. If he can play as well in these cups as he plays, if he plays well in these cups in other events, I actually think HeroMarine might be the scariest player and the scariest Terran player out of Europe. Right now, I think you can give that to Clem simply because Clem shows up in bigger events a little bit more. But HeroMarine really has the consistency in this weekly online cup. It's genuinely ridiculous. Remember, he's won like so many of these events as well, guys. He's won like, this is cup number 51, and he's won 22 of them. He did slow down a lot in the last few cups, right? Because I think it was around cup number 36, he'd won 18. So he won 18 out of 36. Now he's only won 22 out of 51. So the last 15 cups has not been as dominant. I say he's still won 4 out of 15. Like, that's a ridiculous statement to make still, right? Like, that's still a pretty good showing. It's just, we're talking about him. He had a real streak where he didn't win any, actually. He really went on a streak where I think Clem won 3 in a row at some point, and I think Cyril played in one of them again as well, when Cyril came up against Clem in the finals, and I think he went like 6-7 weeks without winning one here in Marine, so it took him a while, and that's where he kind of lost his 50-50 record. Anyways, guys, I'm really going off on tangents here. First 5 minutes of this game have flown on by. The opening, well, it's a 3cc into 2-1-1. So this is going to hit a little bit later than a usual 2-1-1, but of course your third CC is much faster, so you have really the comparison of, it's the same idea as a 2-1-1, it's just going to hit a bit later with a better economy. So, yeah, I mean, the idea of being able to pressure, clean up creep, and take map control is still there, as Reynor opens double evolution chamber, Lair not too far behind. So maybe this time we see more than just the melee upgrades. Maybe this time we actually get to see some Lair tech alongside, melee upgrades and Baneling speed. Because he has been playing just pure lane Bane in some of these games so far. Maybe we go back to Mutashaim. Maybe we see the first chance of, first idea of Hydras. Kind of crazy that Reynor hasn't played a Hydra game yet, because we know Reynor was one of the big advocates for Ling Bane Hydra into Lurker before. And it was his Lurkers that really kind of made Lurkers look broken in ZvT. He really made Lurkers look as though, look absolutely disgusting. And in the process of making Lurkers look absolutely disgusting, a lot of other Zergs refused to kind of play that style for a while. And then they finally said, well, I guess we got to learn it. It just looks so good. And obviously since then, it's become a huge part of Zerg versus Terran and one of the key compositions that we see a lot of the time. Good drop defense from Reynor, doesn't let the 2-on-1 get in position. He will lose a creep tumor out the front. Don't think losing a creep tumor is a major problem though, because these two medevacs load up. They are going to pull through the center of the map, cross over to the right hand side. Something's running. Yeah, and pretty good drop defense altogether. I mean, also protecting the creep tumor on the right side. So that allows you to spread that creep. And a little bit of an upgrade lead here from Reynor when you look at the 1-1 melee upgrades at the moment. So a couple melee upgrades making their way along. Baneling Speed going to be finishing up on the Bane Nest and the 5th hatchery. In the top right corner as well, as Queens are going to push through and fight against these medevacs. Medevacs have to load up, unload on the other side, but he's just sat AFK, and that's a dead medevac. Didn't move that in time at all, so he probably thought he was safe. But the creep's quite far forward here, so the Queens got there easily, and they were able to reach over the gap. That's a pretty big pick, because now it's not possible to save all of these Marines if they get caught in a fight they don't want to commit to. You will find some active creep tumors, so actually does have some success on the right side. Again, slowing down the creep wherever possible is a big bonus to actually being able to control this game a little bit better, right? If you let the creep just go wild, where are you ever going to really start attacking into and all the rest? HeroMarine? Open drilling claws in this game. I really didn't do a good job of pointing out everything that's going on. I apologize. I got carried away with my stories for the early game, but he plays drilling claws early, so he does have this Widowmine harass, and that's something that Reynor really is going to have to stay on top of. You really can't let this Widowmine harass start to do too much. Kind of like this, 11 drones all of a sudden. He actually responded to this, but he didn't respond well enough in the sense that he actually kind of let these the Widowmines hit the drones. He didn't split them even though he pulled them away. Just needed to pull them away a bit further. Counterattack comes in. 16 workers now dead. Widowmines in the main base. He drops in the main base with the Marines. Nothing happens on the counterattack, and Reynor, he's taking a lot of damage here. HeroMarine will be happy with how this game's setting up at the moment. He's actually got the Widowmine still alive over here. And that means they can get into play again. These drones are stacked up with the... What the hell? Okay, that was just 14 more workers. They stacked up over here, and I mean, the Widowmines just hit a bunch of lings at the same time, too. Resources lost is going to start favoring HeroMarine massively. Wow. Okay, well, the good news is, for Reynor, the only good news I really have for him is that he's playing Hydras, and I do think if there's a way to start... The way that Reynor plays, if there's a way for him to get back into a game after taking damage like this, I would say it probably is going to come off a Hydra into Lurker Den. I was talking about it before, he's one of the real Zergs to really kind of, you know, take this style and make it his own and to really make it good. So the Lurker Den coming up, I saw the Infestation Pit coming down, so it was just an inevitability that we're going to see the Hive and the Lurker Den coming down together. Obviously, you build those in sync so you can get the Seismic Spine started as soon as the Lurker Den is finished, and then move into the Adaptive Talons. All of those Lurker upgrades increasing their range and then their burrow and movement speed. Oh man, this is a drone massacre. 41 workers dead. Reynor is doing a great job of just redroning again and again, but now he's losing more than just drones. He's losing like Lings and Banes, and like these Widowmines are getting way too much done. This is why he needs the Hydras. He's actually down like 30, 40 supply right now. Is he just gonna die? I mean, HeroMarine is pushing up with everything. He must have a lot at home because this is not 112 army supply of Terran over here. Baneland's crashing in. Hellbat's going down. Marine's going down. Hive is going to be finishing up soon. As on the right side, the Marines move in. This hatchery is going to be dropping. Slings chase and kill a Widowmine. This hatchery will fall. In the upper right. So you deny a 5th base, you kill off 12 workers. This absolutely has to come down to Lurkers. Now, Lurkers, they are a huge turning point in TVZ. They are a unit which can slow the game right down, take away all of the Terran's momentum, and they really force the Terran to play a completely different playstyle. And especially if the Terran doesn't respect that early enough, what can happen is that you end up in a position as the Terran player where you just lose a lot of your advantage, because if you don't start switching right now into ghosts and stuff, these Lurkers are just going to start to pulled you away from your advantages, and that gives Reynor the chance to play catch-up when he's kept the worker count up above 80, despite all of this pressure. Yes, HeroMarine's taking spikes of advantage, but nothing really major when all things are considered. A bio coming through and a few creep teamers going down. On the top side, medevacs are going to fly through the top as well. See where they can end up. Widow mines going off on a few of these lings. This time, not really hitting like a major connection, not hitting any of the drones. Important to keep the workers alive. You want to stop building workers now and really focus on building units as lurkers slowly burrow up over here. That is going to be the cleanup. I mean, medevac just lifts up and backs away. The lurkers have their seismic spines. The next step is adaptive talent, and it starts up right now. Maybe even missile upgrades, right? Just upgrade those lurkers, their damage output. Why the hell not get them some missile upgrades to just let them do that much more here in the game. On the left side, a group of creep teamers already coming down and pushing this down. They're ruining the game. Are we sure this is Gabe and not Mario? Well, he's playing a pretty good multitasking game, right? Like, he's really going everywhere, but I am worried for him, right? The resources lost is actually not as crazy as it once was. I feel like the last couple trades, he has been starting to lose just that little bit more bio. That's what I mean. He hasn't really, like, he's got 4 factories, so he can, in theory, pump out a whole ton of tanks, but he's not doing it yet. So that's my problem. He's still just massing bio against what is starting to be kind of a, larger and larger lurker army. It reminds me a lot of Bjorn. And Bjorn actually looks amazing sometimes in TVZ because it's just like, oh, he doesn't care about the lurkers. He just does Bjorn things. He drops everywhere, drops around them. But sometimes even Bjorn just looks a little bit silly because it gets to a point where it's like, wait, why didn't you do anything about the lurkers? Why are you just playing pure bio still against it? It's like, well, I don't know. Like, usually I can make it work, but not always, right? And if Bjorn sometimes can't make it work, it's possible HeroMarine doesn't necessarily make it work all of the time either, right? I'm going to be seeing, I mean, Reynor's position getting better as he goes into some Vipers. That's going to improve his chances of fighting into tanks, etc. We do see HeroMarine is now starting to really crank out the siege tank production, so he's going to go heavy on tanks. What the heavy tank count does is it really stops the lurkers from pushing into you aggressively. It doesn't do too well pushing across the map, especially once Vipers are out. It just stops the Zerg from, like, unburrowing, running at you and burrowing into your siege tanks a little bit more. So, because there should just be enough of them to protect that. Big drop into the main. At the same time, big run by into this natural expansion. Lurkers are going to get in position over here. The Lings are going to take down the depot, opening the wall for later. There goes the Hydralist den, though. So no more Hydras in production as the Lings look for a wraparound. I mean, 15 drones go down, 8 SCVs. The Lurkers are still over here. They're going to get to burrow up. Obviously, oftentimes you see the Ghost as a response to this. You get up to Ghosts and you can use those to kind of be a little bit more aggressive. But here, Marine doesn't want to take that investment. It takes a while to get the Ghosts up, maybe. So maybe that's the plan. With the Fusion Corp, I imagine we're going to see Liberators and Liberator range as well. And that should force a Spire out of Reynor at the very least. Unless he's just going to try and deal with it with Hydras and Viper Abducts. Liberators are obviously, again, really good zone control, so you can control where these Lurkers go to. I mean, HeroMarine, he killed a lot of drones across the map, and now he's losing a lot of SCVs. This base is just going to get assassinated by Lurkers and Lings. Wow, all of a sudden, 46 SCVs are dead. I know this attack over here went well, and there was drone SCVs in the main dying, but that's a lot of damage done. These medevacs in control, they get parasitic bombed. The Vipers are going to abduct tanks in. I thought they might just abduct, not abduct. They're going to abduct tanks in. I thought they might go for the blinding clouds on the tanks. But actually just abducting a few in there worked perfectly, as we do see this base denied. HeroMarine in the top right, dropping a couple of different bases at once, as the Lurkers are just left over here to kind of do their thing. I mean, this base goes down as well. I mean, there are other bases just floating around, but every base you lose right now as HeroMarine is very costly. Reynor has money in the bank to spend, so he's missing injects, missing lava, and this game would become a lot easier for him if he was to spend that. Instead, he loses another hatchery, so that's only going to make that more difficult to rectify. He is up 50 workers, but that does mean HeroMarine's army is pretty darn large. Problem is, this would be better if he was maxed out, because if you have like 50 SCVs and 150 army supply against 100 drone Zerg who has like 100 army supply, every one of your fights is going to be very good and very effective. Lurkers find some Marines here. every one of your fights is going to be very efficient because you just have that much more army. But in this scenario, you don't really have that much more army because you aren't maxed out. You don't have free space from having less SCVs, and you're not going to max out because you have less SCVs to mine with. So for the moment, this becomes a very problematic situation for HeroMarine, where he's actually kind of desperate to find some damage, I think. If he doesn't find something soon, I do get worried for him. I mean, Reynor runs in. The supplies get close, but the problem is the supplies are getting close in a scenario where, as the lurkers and burrow and save themselves from the next tank shot, the supplies get close in a world where Reynor still just had so much money in the bank, and it was kind of just a question of waiting for lava. The moment lava popped out, it really is just a different story, right? Lurker's still holding the position. Viper's trying to consume a little bit. They're going to pull back and go for the extractor now. As more of this marine tank force going to move around the left-hand side. Vipers are going to turn, and they're going to come through and abduct initially on a first siege tank. Lurkers take it down with ease. I mean, HeroMarine, this is his strong kind of push, right? This is almost his stronghold on the map. There's all of the tanks here. Not a lot of support for the tanks. So if the Vipers just keep getting energy and abducting away at them, well, actually, if the Lings just run in, there's not a lot of bio to shut the Lings down, so you lose some of the tanks in the front. Obviously, the tanks can kind of protect themselves, but they still take heavy losses. What was 8 or 9 tanks is now just 5. The drones are going down. Another 2 abducts, though, and that's 2 more siege tanks. 3 more siege tanks dead. That's the issue. These Vipers are going to find way too much value. A few Marines behind the mineral line and more drones dropping. Remember that Reynor's got this base back up on the right side. It's a base that's right next to a base of HeroMarine. Oh boy, the abductors keep on coming through. HeroMarine, I feel like, is losing way too much. Resources loss is pretty even. And of course, we're pretty even in a game where Reynor may as well have a Mount Everest here of an income advantage. It's a huge income lead. And he's continuing to maintain the income lead, as HeroMarine actually did make a real effort to make SCVs. He's making 4 at a time. And it's noticeable because he got back up to 60 workers where before he was below 50. So he is really making the conscious effort of saying, right, I need to get my economy back up. I need the eco to build here, else I'm going to be in some serious trouble. Ling Lurker will run down the bottom right side. Just going to get us around on this planetary fortress. It's going to go down in a moment or two, so planetary fortress will fall. SCVs are all going to drop down dead. It's a lot of SCVs going down. The Lurkers move through. They're just going to siege up on top of this base, and orbital tanks going down. I mean, all of these SCVs will continue to drop, and just going to see the marine tank wanting to move up the left side as well. A bit of bio going to chase the Lings back away. I think Reynor's just in control of this game. Lurkers, the turning point of TVP. And I will just say that I don't think HeroMarine played the way that a lot of people play against Lurkers. Like, I like the heavy tank count, but it felt like it took him a while to get there. I kind of like the Liberators. Also felt like it took him a while to get there. Abducts them to pull them out of siege mode so the Hydras can kill them without taking damage. Yeah, it just felt like he almost believed he was so far ahead of all of the damage that he did, which I think he was. But you can be far ahead, and if you don't respond to what your opponent is doing, you will start to take bad fights, and you'll start to lose your advantage, and that's exactly what happened. He needed to respect the Lurker transition, and he just never did. And by the time he did respect the Lurker transition, Reynor was already in a position to make plays, and he made plays. And HeroMarine started to trade badly. Reynor continued to trade very well. And here we are now, 200 to 140 supply, and I just don't see any fight now where HeroMarine's realistically going to be able to trade him, trade out with him. Even if you get on top and clean out a whole ton of Lurkers, 1.3k, 3k in the bank right now versus 400, 100. That's the money in the bank for the players. HeroMarines is just not even comparable to what Reynor has. It's not even close, and Reynor's taking HeroMarine's bases, so it's not like HeroMarine is getting new bases up. I mean, he gets this one down here, but that's a 5th base against what I guess only 6 base Zerg. I say only. Only because it's very possibly he could maybe have this base again and have 7 bases, right? He's going to get attacked on this side. He's actually going to lose this hatchery perhaps, unless the Lurker's making a stance. And I felt like a lot pulled to the top left to deal with the medevac, so that never actually arrived. And yeah, maybe you lose this base, but then you've got tanks being abducted once again, and that's just obviously value for the Zerg. How many Lurkers are even left on the map? 15. There's only like 4 or 5 over here. I dare not think where the rest are. Oh, they're over here. Oh no, this base is gonna die. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I mean, tank's still getting abducted and getting cleaned out. Now the lurk is gonna burrow up down here. This is one of HeroMarine's remaining bases that is healthy on the mineral count, so losing this is a huge issue. And he gets pushed back on the right-hand side. He's gonna type out GG. Reynor's gonna win it out 3-2. This was a comeback from Reynor that I feel like was more given to him by HeroMarine than anything else. I just feel like HeroMarine's response and reaction to the lurkers was not really ideal. I really just feel like that's the way that this game ended, right? Just HeroMarine did not do what he needed to for the lurker transition in time, and despite all the fantastic Widowmine plays early, there was a point where he actually had, where he actually started to trade badly with some of the Widowmines. Reynor dealt with it well, and he cleaned up some of the medevacs. And that, on top of that being the point at which he transitioned to the lurkers, really just saw him being able to win out the game. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this YouTube video. I really hope you enjoyed. More videos every single day here on the channel. Again, next few days, probably a few more from the stream. But next week, a couple more YouTube exclusives or so. As always, let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what's up in the comments. Like and subscribe if you didn't already. Thanks so much for watching and supporting. And I will see you guys next time for the next video. Until then, have a great rest of your day and look after yourselves.